Let's make sure that our cell phones are on silent. Let's make sure we don't disturb the proceedings. Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Sello.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Commissioners, today we start a new stream, but before we do so, there is before you two applications in respect of two witnesses for their testimony to be heard in partial camera. In anticipation of the respective orders being granted, we've taken the liberty of naming one witness N and witness O, and we're just simply following the order of the witnesses thus far in camera. I will start with the first witness, which is the witness N in camera application. You should have before you two bundles, one for witness N and the other for witness O. Please don't look at the spine. I learned that it is mislabeled as statement, but it's actually the in-camera application. Should be the only two files before you. Now, if we turn our attention to witness N's application, at the get-go, I must disclose to you, Commissioners, that the application was served out of the prescribed time period. And we start by asking for condonation for the late filing of the application. It was filed, as I understand, yesterday morning, eventually, scheduled for Wednesday evening, but for reasons that are not immediately necessary for the moment, it was filed yesterday morning. It was duly received by the press, and there's been no indication of any opposition to the application. So first and foremost, we would like to apply for condonation. The basis for the late...
Please repeat what you are saying about the evening, because you say service was in the morning, and then you said something...
I said it had been due for service the Wednesday evening.
Oh,
actually the service was effected only yesterday morning. So there are different reasons for the late service of these respective applications. In respect of witness N, the witness was scheduled to testify in person. If then I may turn to the actual affidavit to explain the circumstances that led to this application being moved. And for that purpose, I would like to refer you to page 5 from paragraph 5. This witness is a female, adult female, and member of the PKTT team currently deployed in the Eastern Cape to investigate matters relating to the University of Fort Hare. So that's her main assignment, and that's where she has been. During the course of investigations, through an intermediary, she was approached and informed of a complaint from members of the public relating to a specific senior investigator at IDAC in the Eastern Cape. She was approached because of the trust reposed in members of the investigating team in the Fort Hare matter. She took the matter up and investigated and concluded that the concerns expressed warranted further investigations. She registered an inquiry and proceeded with the investigations. Her challenge now becomes, because she is part of a bigger team investigating a much broader issue, the Fort Hare issues, the disclosure of her identity, both physical in terms of her pictures and images, and her name, risks the inadvertent disclosure of her team members in the entire Fort Hare investigation. Their success thus far is based in large part on the fact that they are quote-unquote anonymous, and they are able to access the community, and those who want to provide evidence insofar as Fort Hare is concerned are comfortable to approach them and be seen with them. She, as part of the investigating team, is protected by members of the NIU and TRT, and is always in their company. the disclosure of her face and her identity will by definition extend to the members of her protection team. That would require the PKTT to replace almost the entire team that has been seen in her presence and reconstitute the team for the purposes of the Fort Hare investigations. Her employers expressed serious concerns with that and the unintended impact on the original investigation for which she is tasked, and requested whether her identity could be withheld, but her testimony in no way will it be curtailed by these issues. So the application is that she testify virtually, remotely, her voice will not be distorted, her name will be withheld, and her images will not be distributed. And that is the application insofar as witness N is concerned, Chair.
Paragraph 6, having said everything that you've said, do you think paragraph 6 is necessary? Of the notice of application or notice of...
Of the notice or of the affidavit, Chair?
Of the notice, Even seven.
I agree with you. It's,
It
it's
looks
overly
like
broad. It defeats the very purpose of the application being made now. Her testimony is not subject to any non-disclosure, and her transcript would be freely available as any other, except under the new name of witness N.
It seems.
Absolutely, Chair.
You simply used a precedent, I assume.
Yeah, that's the risk of precedence, huh?
Yes.
And judging by what the Chair says, that must be a problem that afflicts the next application, but we'll deal with it at the time when the time comes.
I take it you'll report yourself then.
For, I'm happy to report myself, Commissioner, as long as I know what for. Misconduct.
I will do as I always do in these applications. I'm not going to rattle off what you have in the notice of application. I'll just say the application is granted. And then you will furnish me with a draft order for me to have a look at, and then the Commission Secretary will sign it.
As I understand, the draft order has been presented and should be in your bundle.
Let's finalize all of that at a later stage.
As soon as I have disposed of both applications, we shall make the respective
For your present purposes, application granted.
I'm indebted to the
Thank
Chair.
you.
Thank you. The next application then is in respect of witness O, following the order of things. Today, the commissioners will actually hear evidence from four witnesses. 3 witnesses cover the same issues, but they play different roles. The application the Chair has just granted in respect of witness N is a separate issue. Now we are left with the other 3. Of the 3, 2 will be present in the auditorium to testify. These are investigators into an issue that had arisen some time back, but their investigations were triggered by a whistleblower. So effectively, the facts they relied upon to initiate the investigation are, for your purposes, we concluded hearsay. The original whistleblower is prepared to testify to confirm the correctness of the reports she had made to the investigators and any documentary evidence she may have given in support of her report. That whistleblower, however, is a member of SAPS, is currently in service, and has got serious personal concerns. One is she was eventually persuaded to report the matter, but only as a whistleblower, to enjoy the benefit of anonymity while shedding light on the concerns there may be. Her disclosure was then initiated in terms of the Protected Disclosures Act, and her name has not been circulated or published in any manner. She would like to assist the Commission to provide the necessary evidence, but would prefer that the anonymity extends. Since she reported the matter, she has had no negative reaction from, in particular, her seniors and her colleagues within the SAPS environment. She fears that if her identity is now disclosed, she may suffer pushback and some level of occupational detriment, including intimidation or any other that may eventually affect her employment. Her request is for the Commission to extend the protection afforded her by the Protected Disclosures Act and as a whistleblower, and not require her to disclose either her name or her physical identity. And it is on that basis that she moves the application for an in-camera. If the commissioners are inclined to grant it, the idea is that she, as with witness N, will be testifying virtually, remotely. Her voice will not be distorted. It is accepted that those people who are impacted by her evidence will know who she is. And that has always been the case, even during the stage of investigation. But the broader SAPS community doesn't know who she is, and that is what she is quite desirous to retain. And that is the sole basis for why she is in camera. She will take any questions that the commissioners may have for her, particularly because the investigators significantly relied on her own documentation and report, as long as the questions do not run the risk of disclosing her identity within the SAPS environment. That is the second application and the basis for moving it. And equally, it's partial in camera, and she's scheduled, I think, sometime today in the afternoon.
I didn't hear you apply for condonation. Must I assume that
yes,
service was
Service was late, and if the chair has regard to the notice of motion, once again we apply for condonation.
I do see it signed 9 July.
Yes, thank you for bringing it to my attention. Yes, the late delivery of this particular application was a delay in determining whether or not her evidence is wholly necessary before this commission, or whether it is sufficient for the investigators to run with the whistleblower report she had made. Some issues for clarification became apparent, and neither investigator could speak to those issues. She was quite reluctant to place herself on this platform, and it took some persuasion. And I think she was only the day before yesterday or yesterday finally persuaded with the necessary level of support to present herself before you. So this is a sort of a late determination to present this witness. But now we find ourselves in a position where her presentation of her testimony has got these attendant difficulties. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Law.
Mr. Law, if you would perhaps just clarify where you speak about persuasion, that she was persuaded. It's capable of an understanding that you may, or the commission may have gone out fishing for a witness to come and testify. If you could just explain
yes,
that part.
No. Thank you, Commissioner Balu. To the contrary, the evidence leaders worked with the investigators. They've got their docket relating to that particular investigation. But the underlying cause of investigation was the whistleblower's report. The report is available, as I understand it, but there are certain issues around the events on which she blew the whistle that would require engagement with her, and it became necessary to consult with her. The consultation itself was not an issue to clarify. The question that arose was, in light of some facts not contained in the original report, can the investigators purport to give clarity on that? And it was determined that perhaps her appearance before yourselves would serve to clarify all factual issues surrounding the incident, and therefore enable the investigators to act in the manner they did. The persuasion was in relation to her giving clarity directly to the commission, because that required that she appear. Does she stand by her report? Absolutely. Does she stand by everything the investigators did? At her instance, she does. She was just interested in retaining the anonymity and not be known that she was the instigator of the entire investigation. As I indicated, both investigators would, in essence, if they speak to some fact that they learned from her through engagement and consultations which they did, but that is not reflected in the original report she made, would basically be testifying on the basis of hearsay. To cure that, it was considered that if she avails herself to deal with all material facts around that issue, then any hearsay that would have been testified to by either investigator would be cured by her own appearance. So persuasion was not because she was hunted down or sought by the evidence leaders. Her identity, her name, and her report was always available. It was a question of how are those facts presented to the commission. Thank you.
Thank you.
So it was more an issue of how anonymity would be maintained.
Indeed.
That's
indeed, Chair.
all.
That's the only
No
issue.
reluctance at all with regard to the content of the testimony. There she was prepared to testify.
Yes.
But how do you make sure that my identity will not be disclosed?
And that's the only basis, as I say, for which she moves the application.
Thank you, thank you.
And I wanted to add, Advocate Sillo, that she was willing to give the statement, the issue of anonymity related to her appearance.
Was she willing to give a statement to the commission? She could have given a statement to the commission, but then she would have still had to be a witness or some witness. And the question was, if she's willing to give a statement, questions arise in the course of presenting the statement, and we thought the commission would best be served by her being available to clarify some questions that the benefit we wouldn't have if she just submitted a statement. Because as I say, the original report she made is in the docket, and she would have made a statement more or less along the same lines. So the issue was if she could avail herself to provide any clarity that the commissioners may require, and once again on the basis of anonymity.
The earlier comment with regard to 6 and 7
As I
applies
had
here?
said. Yes, thank you.
I will do what I did with the first application, which is merely to say the application is granted. You will attend to the content afterwards.
Definitely will do,
The full content.
Well, we shall do so shortly, Chair. I'm indebted to the commissioners. Commissioners, we are ready then to start with our first witness. Maybe if we get 2-3 minutes to settle down, to bring the witness in, and we should be ready
We'll
to
stand
start.
outside. Let's adjourn.
Thank you.
It's not necessarily 3 minutes. We'll come back when we are told to.